our judges and also our audience are thoroughly impressed. I see a lot of people nodding their heads, and you are really interested in the presentations and very focused. And right now, let's go ahead and move on to our second track, food systems and sustainable agriculture. And our first team is from Indonesia, Pandawa Agri, presenting their ideas on innovative pesticide and fertilizer reductant technologies that cut chemical use and farm emissions by half. With that, welcome ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Kukurosa, representing Pandawa Agri Farm Indonesia. All the best.
Hello everyone, I'm sure many people in here are coffee lovers, so that's why the production of coffee needs to keep up with the growing demands, and that's making the growers all over the world have a dilemma, because they also need to keep up with and increase their crop input usage, such as pesticide, that will lead to many problems in terms of sustainability in the future. But make no mistakes, pesticides are really beneficial to the farmers because it's easy to use and it's also giving the self-assurance to the farmers for the growing. But we know that these are not sustainable, but someone needs to tackle this problem, right? So that's exactly what we in Pandawa do. We use several minerals and organic materials from our beloved city in Pandawa, Indonesia, to create innovation, breakthrough innovation, our patent innovation that we call pesticide reductant. So with this reductant, we will be able to reduce the pesticide usage under 50%, but still maintaining the same quality like 100% of pesticide. There are no other products like ours. And this function as actually being a carrier for the pesticides to the main target. This is why it is really easy to use for the growers and it's safe for the environment. And I know some of you maybe think, this is maybe like a snake oil or something. Or, don't worry, we already more than 10 years in the market, and more than 2 million hectares of big plantation around Indonesia and Malaysia are regularly use our products. And we already contribute to more than 4 million pesticides reduced in field. And it translates to almost like 9,000 ton carbon dioxide that we help our customers to reduce because our products already have like green label certification internationally. And when exactly we involved in the coffee ecosystem, actually it's back then in 2022 when we want to expand our business beyond the plantations and want to contribute more to the smallholders. And we discovered that in Indonesia, the coffee farmers are really struggling with the low yield. So we help them to double and even triple their yield by using our reductant package technology. And it consists of our reductant pesticide as our main product, our reductant of fertilizer, our newest innovations, and even other beneficial innovations. And because of this success, one of the biggest coffee traders in the world, LDC, invite us to join forces to help them to introduce this kind of technology to 35,000 hectares of their farmers in Indonesia. So we start in this year with 20 hectares and we will expand to next year to 5,000 hectares. And why LDC, the big corporation, wants to join together with us? Because they knew that there are no other innovations such as ours, and we also have a really wonderful team that able to deliver all the goals that we aim to, from the research, from the field team, and even the regulatory. And the other problems that they're facing, actually, now the global coffee traders all over the world, they have a target to reduce 30% of the emissions in 2030. And they need farmers to contribute on that because a much bigger chunk of the emissions actually are emitted from the cultivation of coffee itself. So that's why they think with this reductant technology, it will help their farmers to reduce their emissions. And we do the calculation together with them. This is the baseline calculation. And after we saw what actually the source of the emissions, we see that the fertilizer usage, the pesticide usage, and also crop residue. And just like match that made in heaven, that's actually the problem that our reductant technology can solve. And they asked Pandawa, please not only join forces in Indonesia, but come to Vietnam, because we have a lot of coffee farmers in Vietnam, like 11,000 coffee farmers in Vietnam, and they also need to reduce their emissions. That's why we already have a plan in the first semester. We will focus on to pre-assessment, and then second semester next year we will focus on to the pilot scale and expand to thousands of hectares of coffee farmers all around Vietnam. And we also already calculate all the budget that we needed is totaling like 4.5 billion Vietnam dong, and several of budget will be contributed from the LDC. And with this amount of budget, it will help us to help coffee farmers in Vietnam to reduce the to meet the global reduction of the emissions more than 40% and even more than 50% in the future, while we also preserve the environment because we using or reducing the crop input usage such as pesticide and even fertilizer in the future. So ladies and gentlemen, this is that we call a win-win because this is when the smallholders and big corporation collaborate to preserve the coffee cultivation to make sure that our grandchild can enjoy the cup of Vietnam coffee just like ours. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was a very impressive presentation. Thank you. And now let's go ahead and start with our Q&A with our judges. Judges, are you ready? All right. And now let's go ahead with our first judge, Mr. Son Sang.
Thank you for your presentations. So for the farmers, financial impact is very important. So adoption usually happens only when farmers can see their financial returns. Then how much additional income can a typical farmer expect per hectare, and how quickly can they see their financial impact?
Thank you for the wonderful question. Actually, Vietnam farmers have a different problem if you compare to Indonesia. Indonesia, we can see that the production are really low, so that's why the focus is how to increase their production. But in Vietnam, the production already high. So even we can say that over fertilized. So that's why now they focus how to reduce the fertilizer usage without compromising the yield. So that's why with our adapted package technology, they will be able to saving costs freshly like 25 until 30% without compromising the productions. So that's the offer that we try to deliver to the coffee farmers in Vietnam because it's totally different with the Indonesia coffee. Because in Indonesia coffee, we try to increase their production 2 until 3 times. So that's maybe the differences.
Yeah, you just mentioned that Indonesian coffee are very different from the Vietnamese coffee. Then, have you ever tested your solutions across different types of environments? So, and does it show consistent in different countries, different climates?
Yeah, that's actually right now we already in the market like more than 10 years, and we already use like a lot of big plantation in Indonesia, Malaysia, and several crops such as sugarcane, palm oil, forestry, tea in the Sri Lanka. We also enter Sri Lanka right now. We also have invitation to come to China. So we do a lot of testing, and we believe that the coffee here and in Indonesia, the climate are, I think it's similar, and the type of coffee are totally same. It's Robusta coffee, but maybe the ones that really differentiate actually Vietnam coffee are much more advanced if we compare to the Indonesia. So that's why we are looking forward to have like more discussions, enriched discussion with the Vietnam coffee farmers.
Thank you very much. And our next judge, Ms. Patricia, yes?
Hi, thank you for your presentation. Okay, so I think when you deal with smallholder farmers, there's a lot of challenges. So I mean, it includes there are millions of them in Indonesia, Vietnam, Malaysia, and there are also other challenges like low literacy, below the poverty line, and they don't have that much of a sustainable cash flow in that sense. So maybe I'd like to hear a little bit more about how do you intend to scale this product? What is your outreach strategy to these farmers to get them to adopt? And I also see on your presentation that you have incentive. So you provide them incentive, you provide them with education. So what is the cost of customer acquisition in a scalable way, I guess?
Thank you very much, Mrs. Patricia. Actually, our strategy in the plantation and smallholders is totally different. In the plantation, we directly sell our innovations, but with the smallholders, actually, what our strategy is, we directly connected with the end buyers. So like the coffee and buyers is like Nestle, LDC. So we saw what the challenge that they're facing that needs farmers to tackling on, and we right now see that okay, now they have the challenge in terms of emissions and in terms of the using of fertilizer and pesticides. But the Nestle and LDC cannot do directly with the farmers. They need another input to the data. So that's why we collaborate with the end buyers. And the ones that give the premium actually is the end buyers. Because once the end buyers are able to have like the emission reduction, they have like more price to the customers, and that's why they can give the incentive to the smallholders. In the Vietnam, they will, but the budgeting like 5 until 10% more than the normal price if the farmers can reduce the emissions on the field. So that's the strategy. Not only in coffee, also in the palm oil, we also do the same strategy right now. We have like the collaboration with the Walmart in USA. They try to reduce also the using of pesticides in the palm oil smallholders, and we are the ones that being their partners to do that. So that's our strategy in the smallholders. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Questions for our judges, and thank you for your presentations, Mr. Kuba Rosa. Thank you very much. And that was our first team that talked to ladies and gentlemen. And so far, I think that all the teams' presentations have really embodied the spirit and the purpose of Net Zero Challenge